First day of spring, got a new microphone. We're really moving up in this world. But today, I want to talk about something a little different. Words. Words are very interesting concepts. They're a collection of characters we call letters. We then combine those letters in a specific order to assign them a certain meaning, which we then call a word. And then we string those words together to create a sentence, which we then use to communicate ideas to people. That felt very weird to explain it like that. But that's exactly why I've always had this incredible fascination with language. When you break it down to its most fundamental level, how did we as human beings go from Ooga Booga cavemen scribbling on walls to now speaking over 7,000 languages all across the world? Human evolution is a very intriguing topic, but there's just something about the evolution of language and the way we express ideas that puzzles me even more so. And I could never put my finger on it until I saw this TED Talk.
One of the things that makes language unique, I think, is that we can generate new sentences all the time. There's an infinite capacity to say something different.
It blows my mind that there's an infinite combination of words to say different thoughts. So let me channel my inner Neil deGrasse Tyson for a second and put things in perspective using one of my favorite tools, a deck of cards. I saw this insane explanation on Reddit, so bear with me for a second. Let's assume there are 10 billion people on every planet. There are 1 billion planets in every solar system. There are 200 billion solar systems in every galaxy, and there are 500 billion galaxies in the universe. If every single person on every single planet shuffled a deck of cards 1 million times per second since the beginning of time, we still would not reach every single possible combination of cards today. That's because every possible card combination is a result of 52 factorial. 52 factorial is 52 times 51 times 50 times 49 all the way down to 1. And keep in mind, that's only from 52 cards, all of which are unique. There are currently over 150,000 words in the English language, and we can use the same word over and over again. So yeah, there are infinite possibilities. Every novel, every poem, news article, blog post, email, you name it, all use unique sentences to achieve different objectives, whether it's to entertain, inform, educate, or persuade. And that doesn't even factor in nonverbal communication and tone, because those can give words entirely different meanings. But that's the inherent beauty of language. You can say whatever you want to say, however you want to say it. There are no rules. That brings up an age-old question. How do people from different cultures communicate? How do we bridge that gap to be able to understand each other? It feels like the answer to this question should be deep and give you like an aha moment, but you just gotta learn the other person's language. It's really as simple as that. Water break. Much better. All right, back to it. Now, I was fortunate enough to grow up speaking both English and Arabic fluently. My brain would analyze and ponder things in either language randomly. Sometimes it thinks in English, other times in Arabic. But when it comes to actually speaking, bilingual people can easily switch between two languages with the flip of a button. وبعد كده بتقدر تتكلم من لغة تانية عادي وبمنتهى السلاسة. بس برغم ان احنا بنقدر نقلب على اللغة التانية، بيبقى دايما في كلمتين ثلاثة كده بيبقى اسهل بكتير انك تقولهم بالانجليزي زي سوري او اوكي. وفي اوقات كتيرة بنتكلم باللغة بتاعتنا وبعد كده we switch to English because it's easier to express our ideas in this language, and partly because our brain may not be able to articulate what it wants to say in our native language. But right after we're done, we switch back وبنخلص كلامنا بالانجليزي او بالعربي ايا كان اللي مخنا عايزه. The beautiful thing about languages is once you learn one new language, después de eso, aprender otros idiomas se vuelve mucho más fácil. Nuestras mentes están capacitadas para que buscar ciertos patrones, contextos, palabras y frases que es común en ese dialecto para que podamos mantener conversaciones. Eso puede ayudarnos a aprender un nuevo idioma mucho más rápido. Mais ce n'est pas insinué vous pourriez le faire les doigts dans l'année lorsque vous apprenez les nouvelles langues. Vous avez besoin de consacrer les années à faire du pratique constante chaque jour pour ressembler à une langue maternelle. حتى ولو مش هتقدر تتكلم اللغة بسلاسة، تقدر تتمرن لحد ما توصل لمرحلة تعمل حوار له معنى مع أهل البلد اللي بيتكلموا اللغة، حتى ولو مش هتفهم كل حاجة هما بيقولوها. 覚えておくべき一番大切なことは、新しい言語を勉強している過程を楽しむことです。言語学習は退屈でストレスのたまるものではなく、心躍る楽しいものであるべきなのです。異なる言語でコミュニケーションが取れるようになることは、本当に人生を変えてくれるものなのです。But beyond just a flex of being able to speak more than one language, being bilingual or multilingual actually has some serious benefits. Being bilingual has cognitive benefits. Some studies have shown that a bilingual brain has more gray matter, which is a sign of a healthier brain. It also provides you with more executive function to control, direct, and manage your attention a lot better than if you only spoke one language. That's because when you speak more than one language, your brain instantaneously shifts from one way of thinking to another, which makes your attention that much sharper. You open your career opportunities to so many more countries when you know how to speak their language. You're not going to be constrained geographically to a handful of countries just because you know how to speak their language. Instead, you can advance your career in a completely different continent. Now, I fully realize that there are thousands of people who go and work in different countries without ever learning the language, and they're still successful. But understanding the dialect of that country allows you to connect with the people there on a much deeper level. Which brings me to my final point. Learning a new language gives you new appreciation, understanding, and perspective of that new culture. Let's paint a picture for a second. Imagine your brain is a house. This house has only one window that's facing its neighbor's house, and that's the only thing you see all day long. Now, if you spend the time and effort to build a window on a different side of the house, you now have an entirely new perspective to look through. Now, a giant misconception about language learning is that you're just learning vocabulary and grammar and trying to piece them together to express your thoughts. That's not at all what it's like. In reality, you're learning an entirely new way of thinking that allows you to express your thoughts in that language, which includes all the nuances and complexities of it, like metaphors. One of my favorite sayings in Arabic is "إدي العيش لخبازه حتى ولو كل نصه." Its literal translation is "give the bread to its baker, even if he eats half of it," which makes absolutely no sense if you only knew vocabulary and grammar. What this is actually saying is if you want to get something done right, give it to someone who is an expert in the field, even if they charge you a premium, at least they'll do it right the first time. And that to me is the beauty of language learning. You get to see and understand the world through the perspective of different people, which is an absolutely ethereal experience. That's why I'm trying to learn Japanese. I've been a huge fan of Japanese culture and pop culture ever since I was 14 years old, and it's been my dream to go and live there for a few years. Being able to communicate with the locals there and understanding the culture and context behind the language is consequential to me. And if you couldn't tell already, I haven't made much progress considering how badly I butchered those sentences, but it's something that I will slowly work towards every day until I learn it and build a new window in my house. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time as the journey continues. Assalamu alaikum. Para buscar ciertos patrones, contextos, frases que es común, en ese que nuestras mentes están capacitadas para buscar. I would be a terrible actor. حتى ولو انت مش هتقدر تتكلم اللغة, I can't even speak my own language. Wow. Taikutsu nestor vuelve mucho más fácil. I think I got that in one take. Let's go!